Guess what?
What?
Yesterday, they arrested Mubarak. He's in jail. He is.
You're kidding.
Mubarak,
Really?
his son,
Did you
his
know
two
that?
sons. I felt victory. I was just amazed and so thrilled because was one of the main demands. This was a major point. So I felt it was the second part of that day he stepped down. I thought that when he stepped down, that was the next step, is to get him in prison, to get him prosecuted, to get him to confess on all of the corruption and the people that we don't know who are involved. Mubarak was only the head of corruption. He was the face. He was the symbol. But the body and the web of corruption lies everywhere, in every institution, on every level, in every ministry, factory, university, just everything. And to cleanse all these institutions out of corruption, or the mini Mubaraks that are everywhere, that's also a huge important step. And it starts with Mubarak being on trial, being prosecuted, being questioned, held accountable, and getting back all the money that he stole from the Egyptian public, and really justice to be served. This revolution erupted standing for those principles of justice, freedom, social equality, accountability, transparency, and it's happening. And that means that our pressure from below, our revolution is succeeding, and these are the signs, and we're seeing them, we're witnessing them every day. And without that pressure, without people being in Tahrir who got killed not long time ago, a few days ago, when the army, together with police, evacuated the Tahrir Square by force, killing people and injuring a lot, that means that their blood didn't go in vain, and their presence, their fight achieved something, and it's something huge. Like, it's one of the main demands of Mubarak being on trial. I don't trust that public prosecutor. I want people, civil, people from the opposition, judges, and so on, to carry out this process of trying Mubarak, or even internationally. Like, I would be for Mubarak going on like the criminal court and facing justice that way, or the Egyptian legal system to really stand with the revolution and try Mubarak for the crimes that he committed over not just the revolution but over all 30 years.
How much faith do you still have in the military to execute
I have
the
no
transition?
faith in the military. I have no faith in the military. The military have done everything that they have so far because of the pressure from below, from the pressure that the public has put on them to do so. They write all kinds of nice speeches and good talk, as I call it. But really in action, if you look, even starting the day of the 12th, February 12th, right when Mubarak stepped down, they started evacuating the square by force. Using sticks to beat people, breaking down tents. On February 25th, I was in a strike in front of the Office of Ministers, where we were calling for Ahmed Shafit's cabinet to step down, and the military police literally beat us. I was physically beaten by the military police. We were running against them. Some people got arrested. They're now facing 3 to 5 years in military prison, and these actions and these tactics are the same, if not worse, of what Mubarak did. So they're definitely no better. If you look at the High Supreme Council that's really in power now, they're no different than Mubarak. Their loyalty are with Mubarak. Their interests lie closely with the Mubarak regime, and I think because we keep the pressure from below, we expose the truth. We have all these testimonies from people that were tortured or beaten or arrested by military police, and we outwardly talk about it. We put it in the media, we discuss it. We have videos of beatings and tortures, and that were all done by the military. That kind of pressure is making them take actions like prosecuting Mubarak to keep their legitimacy, to keep proving that they are with the revolution, even though behind closed doors, really, they're no different. We've been ruled by military figures since 1952. all our presidents were coming from the military, and military also is a big, huge of the economy. They have huge sectors in industries, and they have a lot of interest and a lot of the stake. The U.S. aid that we get from U.S., the 1.5 billion a year, largely goes to the military. So they have a lot of interest and a lot at stake, and they will defend that and they will protect that behind closed doors. And in front of people, they'll say, oh, the people and the police, one hand together, even though this hand is torturing them.
Some of the officers who joined the demonstrations this weekend in Tahrir Square called for Field Marshal Tantawi to step down, but many argue that the top military leadership is necessary to maintain order and security in the country. So what kind of pressure should be placed on the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces?
That exact same pressure. People were already chanting in the streets against Tantawi and against the army, and that was a very progressive sign. And it only took time for within the army themselves for officers to break up and join the revolution and call on Mushir Tantawi to step down. And this is definitely a great sign, because look at what's happening. Because of that, they had to literally kill people to fight us, which in the end gained us Mubarak being imprisoned, and it's still progressing. People have to know what the true face of the military is. The military's position is important. I mean, there's no country without a military or the army. I'm not calling to ban it or banish it, but this is their position. They should just be what a military is, function, and so on. And leave politics, leave government, leave this to the people. The legitimacy is with the revolution. The legitimacy is with the people's revolution. So civil people have to carry out this transitional phase. So I would say just that pressure, that people's pressure, and that's what got us here so far. So we just got to continue that. I mean, if you're in Tahrir, the first day to the last day, increasingly, we kept gaining more people, more determination, more strength, more comfortable. I mean, even though it was very hard living there, and it's not easy, and it's at times we had some downtimes, during the camels and the horses raiding the square, and the day Mubarak had this speech of basically saying nothing meaningful or nothing new, that Thursday, the day before he stepped down, everybody was so disappointed. They're like, wow, we're gonna now have to stay here for a whole month or something before he steps down, because he was so stubborn. But at the same time, throughout this process, we were hitting a point of no return. There was so much bloodshed. There was so much sacrifices from all people, people coming from all different parts of the country to be in Tahrir Square to fight for the revolution. And it was going to be hard at some point to continue that if he didn't step down. But what really made it happen and what really toppled it was on February 9th, all the workers that had already gone on strike called for a general strike. And this is what media really doesn't talk about much. They talk about the internet and Wael Ghunim and Facebook revolution, when in fact what really toppled Mubarak was the transportation workers, the public transportation workers, along with Helwan, cement workers, sugar factory workers, the real estate tax collectors, the health technicians, all these different sectors, they had already gone on strike, and it was happening every day. But they coordinated and they called for a general strike. That created enough pressure on the elite businessmen to put pressure on Mubarak to topple down, because basically it was hitting their pockets. It was like, okay, now it's either us or Mubarak. So Mubarak stepped down only 2 days after that. The day he stepped down, it was the first time we had actual protests in mass number in front of the presidential palace. And I even said this earlier that day, and I was like, when there is a protest in Heliopolis, which is where I live, which is the neighborhood, it's a very upper middle class neighborhood of people who don't really engage in, oppositional politics. And when that area becomes an uprising, basically, I was like, we are so close from Mubarak stepping down. I can just see it happening within the next day or two, and not hours after that he stepped down.